I think the only qualification for great poetry is poetry that people come back to. And that's what makes it great. So it doesn't matter what a poem says. If no one wants to read it, no one's going to read it. And it doesn't really matter whether a poem says something. If everyone wants to read it, everyone will read it. And they will come back and they will read it over and over and over again. So, you know, Ben Jonson's sonnet about his dead son, which is like a, you know, heartbreaking poem, is a poem that everyone goes back to read, you know, again and again. And it says something about him personally. And sometimes I give myself parameters for my writing. So in this particular manuscript, which was an experiment for me, my parameters were to write a long discourse, a one-sided discourse to someone who is away fighting a war. But I thought perhaps maybe the voice could also be someone who's away fighting, writing back to someone who's missing them. So I had this idea of a dialogue, and I thought in order to have this dialogue and have it sound fluid, that it had to occur very quickly in the way that we communicate by letter. And so I gave myself a specific time period, and I said, you have to do it in 31 days. So I would start writing on December 31st, and I would stop writing on January 31st. And I would write fluidly until the manuscript was complete, before I did any revising. The opening poem is called Gospeling. You shake a mile of ocean, not your shoulders, but a different language. Maybe you're talking in your sleep when I'm watching the Ethiopian grocer hand me change. Quiet is one language of war, but most importantly, only one. This is another poem. I imagine this woman being someone who kind of fretfully got up in the middle of the night in her moments of frustration, talking to this other person. And sometimes in the midst of writing a poem about something else, I'm also writing about writing. And I get frustrated with the rules of writing, right? So there's rules that are, certain words are cliche. And I think, well, I'm going to use that word. I'm going to make it work, right? So this is one of those moments when I decided, someone said to me, flourish is cliche. And I was like, all right, here we go. This is called Another Letter Midnight Writes. Imagine this flourish, an after-wrought purple. Not purple flourish, sentimental, too tender, goes so a word might become a bare sack. The bare sack, cliche, which frees flourish, to be again flourish. To be again flourish. To take a long time. To talk about war. I want you to ignite something other than fire. So I imagine, say, a cat. No, a horse, which is majestic in the way of things, but too common in television and stories. Kids singing, you can't care either, or some other beneath or above. Stop praying. Stop fearing cliche and the sack. I plug my ears to find out whether a sound is outside of me or within. Consider rust and how the feel of it means a thing to do on any Saturday. An iris webbed the way purple would easily live within circuits. The curled lips or wet tongue, a yellow blink as yellow does in a wet morning, opened with purple beading, not flowers. Iris of the heart impossible to not come back, that we come to a heart. This poem was one of the early poems that I wrote for this manuscript, and it was the moment of conceptualizing what I wanted to write about, because I was watching CNN and I saw soldiers on the screen, and I saw someone pass, a soldier, and he turned and looked at the camera, and I thought, what if he's looking at me? You know, what if I'm the one sitting at home saying, that's my guy, or that's my woman, that's my aunt or my cousin or my uncle or my sister. Of me, you quit saying so. I never turn toward the camera, though I watch the news. how close we would be touching the other country. A trigger love. Talk about static if you convince the sea into having us. Static is no matter. My face not turned toward you, my ear not at your throat, which says, not again.